Hey guys, welcome back. Tisha here, back for our first review for season 3, 1,000 Pound Best Friends. My emotions are all over the place. This was a good first episode because I found myself getting so upset at the content that were being shown. I never thought that I would be in a place where I was completely against two people more than I found myself being on this particular episode. So the 1,000 Pound Associates are back. Dr. Proctor is back. And I am excited. But let's go ahead and get into it. Do me a favor and hit the like button because it does help the channel. I'm going to need to get in this algorithm some way, somehow. And you hitting that button helps me. There will be parts that I may miss talking about. If it's something that you want to discuss, feel free to put it down below because this is a review. So we begin with Vanessa, who began this show weighing 448 pounds. She gets on the scale and she now weighs 220 pounds. She says that she enjoys working out, and as a result of her weight loss, her confidence is stronger and she's enjoying eating healthier foods and making better decisions. She said her only problem right now is that she's self-conscious about her skin because she has a lot of it. One thing about Vanessa is once it clicked for her, once the light went on, she has maintained this. She has done a great job. I really want to know what's going on with her son because her son was extremely large and Dr. Proctor said that, he wanted to see him as well. So I really hope that we get to see something about that. But as of right now, we didn't get to see him, but she's done amazing. She hopes that she'll get approved for skin removal surgery. We get a flashback of the plastic surgeon saying that she wanted her to lose a little bit more weight, to have her BMI at like 30 something percent, and to maintain that lower weight for a year. So she said that she's been able to maintain the lower weight. So she's hoping that she get approved. She said with everything that's been going on, she'd love to be able to reach out to the ladies, but they haven't been closed. She said, and it bothers her because Megan helped save her life. Megan was the one that got on her about her weight, and now there's a strain. They haven't talked to her in months. She says, when I reach out to the girls, Megan will respond by saying something like she's in a dark place right now. And Ashley will say like she's busy, but then she'll see her on her social media where she's at the beach or she's at a bar, or she's doing something else. And she feels like they aren't talking to her because of how successful she's been. I have to be honest. At the beginning of this in my notes, I said I don't know about Ashley, but Megan was already jealous of her before they wrapped filming for the second season. So I can see Megan definitely being jealous. I'm changing that now after watching this whole thing. And I have to say they are jealous of her because a friend suggesting to you different things for you to eat should not equal to you cutting her off and giving her the type of energy that these mean girls were giving her. We get to Megan. Megan has finally moved out of Tina's house. Tina apparently is not going to be on this season because she's not on the thumbnail. She's moved out of that house. Her husband got a better paying job. They also probably got money from the show, and now they were able to move into a home. I don't think they bought it. I think they're renting, but either way, they're somewhere else. They have 11 cats as a substitute for the babies that Megan wants, but she cannot have. She says she's 45 and she's not sure if she'll be able to have babies. It has been 3.5 years since her surgery. If Megan really, really wanted these children, I would think that she would have worked harder on her weight loss. Megan plateaued very quickly. It seemed like once they got approval for the show and once certain things started happening, that Megan was constantly not decreasing in numbers while Vanessa was. So I don't quite get it, but that's her story and she's sticking to it. So when she first was on TV, she was on a different show where they were helping multiple people. And at that time, she was close to 500 pounds. She was on oxygen. She couldn't even get up to go to the bathroom. We saw her get out of her bed and literally pee on a pad that was on the floor. Now at her lowest, she says she was 289 pounds. She looks like she weighs more than that to me, but I'm gonna leave that alone because different weights are carried differently. But she says she's plateaued. She says she's been doing all the right things, but she wants to talk to Dr. Proctor about maybe having another surgery. Megan can sit there and say that she's doing the right things, but she said that before, and Dr. Proctor called her out that she wasn't doing the right things. And she made excuses for that and started crying and getting emotional and felt like he was picking on her. So Megan will always have an excuse for things. She's obviously not doing the right things, especially when I see bananas and sweet tea and all that other stuff. Even though it's diet, it still has sugar in it. Sweet tea sitting there, like, you're not doing what you're supposed to do either. She thinks that because Ashley was able to have a second surgery, that she'll be able to do it too. Excuse me, as I heard her say it, I was like, that's why they make people wait so long after their surgery to do the skin removal surgery, because they're so accustomed to patients reverting back to their old ways that they make them kind of fight for it. So here's Megan, and she's looking for a quick fix because she's not really willing to do the work. We see Ashley. Ashley is saying she's doing great. She found a new job. It's been about a year since her surgery. At the start, she was 379 pounds. She's now 288 pounds. She says she has more energy. Her confidence is through the roof, and she's proud of who she is. Ashley walks into Megan's house for the first time. She tells her she's proud that she's out of Tina's house, but she can't believe that she's walked into, because she's walked into a cat obsession. There's a lot of different patterns and prints and different cat things all over the place, as well as the 11 cats in the litter boxes and all of that. It's a lot of stuff in that place. I'm not going to judge her on how many cats she has. Just know it couldn't be me. I like fur babies, but I can't have an abundance of them. And if I do, it would have to be in a very large space. I can't deal with, it's just me. I got like really, really slight OCD about certain things. And I know that would drive me up the wazoo. Because even now, I love my fur baby. But sometimes when his hair is on certain things, I got the lint roller in hand going crazy. Okay, Tina and Megan, we find out, are good. It was a little weird at first when they left, but they're fine. The subject of Vanessa then comes up, and Ashley's like, how is your friend Vanessa doing? Ashley and Megan are mean girls. Without a doubt, they're mean girls. Because the energy that they're giving is so off-putting to me, and I don't like it. We find out that they have been hanging out without her. They don't like that Vanessa has been making certain suggestions. I feel like this is lowering. Sorry. Y'all can't see below here. They don't like that Vanessa has been making suggestions to them about how to go about losing weight, and they don't feel like she's supporting them. I feel like they don't like the suggestions because of who they're coming from. Because Vanessa is doing a great job. She's doing better than what they're doing, and I think that they have a problem with it. All the ladies are going to go to a support group. These meetings are once a month. And unlike the other ladies, Vanessa has been going there consistently, in my opinion. But they're going to show up today because they're being filmed. Vanessa says that she's wanted to meet with them for months. Megan is dreading it. She's sitting there holding a teddy bear. Everything about Megan is, I'm going to be a toddler. I'm going to act like an adolescent. And then when it comes to your feelings, I'm going to act like you're the problem and like I don't have any problems myself. She comes across as very childish to me, and I didn't like it. So she starts crying, she says, just because she heard Vanessa's voice. Nothing Vanessa has done at this point should get the reaction of, I'm going to sit here and cry. It comes off as very, I'm a victim, feel bad for me, oh, woe is me, I don't like it. I've met people that are like Megan before, and you have to really like walk on eggshells, and I'm not an eggshell type of person. So those type of people normally aren't people that I consider to be a friend. Those people remain at the associate level, because I don't want to have to filter myself with friends. It shouldn't be that. So Vanessa walks in and she's very kind. She says, good morning. I haven't seen you in a minute. I've been missing your butt. And that's all she says. Megan is cold to her. Like, she's like, hi, and she turns her back or whatever. Vanessa says, immediately, my anxiety started because I can already tell what this is going to be. And Megan does not like to talk about things or face things. She's like, part of me, I could tell that she was crying. So I wanted to give her a hug, but I didn't. Then you got Megan saying, part of me wanted to give Vanessa a hug, but I didn't because that sends mixed signals. So what? She's your enemy now? You can't give her a hug and say like, hey, or we'll talk about it or something. It's just, it doesn't warrant itself to me. So we see the different people arriving, some who are post-op, some who are pre-op. Dr. Proctor walks in with his sexy self. Y'all, I'm so excited to see Dr. Proctor. That is a fine man. So he walks in and he talks about the importance of the group and how it's important to have a support system, because normally people who have a support system are the ones who tend to be more successful. If you can't tell, I'm using my broken tripod. That's why this thing keeps lowering. They tend to be more successful. Ashley comes in and she's late. And Megan's like, I needed her to be here, you know, my moral support. So I'm glad she's here. She comes in and she sits down to Vanessa. And Dr. Proctor says, I haven't seen you in a while, meaning she hasn't been coming. So these ladies like to act like they've been coming to these meetings. I don't think they've been coming as frequently as they're trying to make it seem. I think that Vanessa has. We meet some other people. Among them is Tina. Tina is 52 years old. She was 420 pounds in California. She could not walk. They moved to Georgia. She looked up Dr. Proctor. She's been working on some things. Now she's 360 pounds. She has to lose 10 more pounds to be approved for her surgery. She admitted that she used to have as many as 20,000 calories a day. That is a lot of crap. She was talking about how she would have, you know, the big gulps and the sodas and all those other things, and how it quickly would go from I'm gonna just have a couple pieces of candy to having the whole bag, and how those calories add up. So she was like, you know, I don't have any kids. I couldn't have kids because of my weight. So I have 5 dogs. It's sad when you think about that. When you want the children so badly, but you can't do it because of the disease that is obesity. Or I shouldn't say obesity is a disease. I should say that overeating sometimes can be seen as a disease. We'll say that. That's when Megan hears about the 5 dogs and she has to talk about her 11 cats. And Vanessa makes a comment about the 11 cats and she's like, oh, but my house doesn't smell. You can ask Ashley. I think, y'all tell me what you think. I think that Megan knew what she was doing when she pointed out that Ashley had been there. She knew that that would hurt her. And Vanessa's like, oh, well, you know, I haven't been there, but we'll talk about that later. I think she did it on purpose, but you guys tell me below what you think. Because it just happened on the show. Like, you literally just went over there for the first time because you're sitting there wondering what she would think. You and your husband were cleaning up because you knew she was coming over. That's the only reason why I think he was cleaning up the cat hair. Vanessa is hurt by it. You could see it. She starts shaking and trembling and making comments. She said, my best friends of over 30 years have exiled me over losing weight. And I think it's true. We then meet Scott, who's 32. He wants to find love. He wants to date, get married, be able to have kids, and be confident, and also at some point be physical without worrying what other people think. They talk about the adjustments associated with weight. Someone says that as you lose weight, you will also lose people along the way. Vanessa says, yes, you will. Yes, you will. Vanessa then leans into Ashley and says, it's hard to do it on your own when you have friends, but they're not there. And Ashley's looking like, no, she didn't. Yes, she did. One thing I like about Vanessa is that Vanessa tells how she's feeling. Only thing I wish is that she watched her delivery, because I'm the type of person who, when I get overly excited about something or I'm overly passionate about something, I too raise my voice. I notice it a lot in recording videos. So sometimes I have to legitimately talk to myself and tell myself, calm down, you're loud. It doesn't require all of that, because not everyone can handle that. I know when I talk to my son and when I'm getting mad, I purposely speak very calmly, because he does not respond well to the loud. He shuts down. So certain people will require for you to adjust that. But she's so hurt that it's like she's fighting to pull it in. So Megan starts crying because she's embarrassed. I don't understand why she's crying. You're upset because she's letting it be out there that this is going on with y'all, that y'all are having issues in the group. But isn't the group supposed to be where you talk about everything? Number one. Number two, you're on a show, you're filming. At some point, the group's going to know anyway. Vanessa's hearing Scott talk and the things that he's saying, and she was very close to his weight. So she's like, I want to help him. I want to be there for him the way at one point Megan was there for me. So they're doing a weight loss competition. Dr. Proctor says everybody's wearing Fitbit. They're doing a group competition. The winner gets a pair of athletic shoes. The meeting ends. Tina invites everybody over to her house for a cookout later on. We didn't see that in this episode. Vanessa is like, can we have a talk, y'all? She comes up to the two of them after the meetings, like, can we go talk? Let's grab some smoothies or something and have a talk outside, because, I want to know some things. So they agree to meet up. Vanessa wants to know what happened. She immediately is like, look, if we're not friends, then we need to step the F off. Ashley's like, oh, so you're jumping right into it, okay? And Vanessa's talking and telling her feelings, and Ashley's like, look, it is what it is. Very dismissive of what she's saying, very dismissive of your feelings when you're telling someone it is what it is. Megan says, look, I motivated you. You're talking like that, but I motivated you, and I motivated you, and I wasn't hard on you. You're harder on me, and you're more judgmental. And Ashley's like, you were acting like a drill sergeant, like you were the expert. You were saying what we should eat and what we should be doing, and it hurt. If you're eating right and doing right, then would this be as offensive? And is it a problem if she's coming to you in love? I don't know what she was doing off camera, but on camera, she saw that you all were not meeting your goals and you all were not doing your things. And she was doing what most friends would do, which was help their friends by encouraging them and making suggestions into ways that they could be successful, because she's going through the same exact process as you. Ashley says, I feel like she thinks that she's better than me. And that's the problem, because I don't feel that Vanessa feels like she's better than them. I feel like they feel like Vanessa is better than them, and they have a problem with Vanessa being the success. Vanessa says, I would have been there for you all. You're saying that I wasn't there for you all, and I would have been there for you all. And Megan's like, there you go. You're getting heated. And this is why I don't like having these conversations, and I avoid them, because you're loud. And Vanessa's like, look, I'm naturally loud. Megan tells, she says something like, I'm naturally loud. I'm not going to apologize for it. And Megan tells her, okay, have a nice day. Because if you're not going to apologize, then have a nice day. The passive aggressiveness in Megan, it gets on my nerves, because Megan will do that, and then the next minute, Megan's going to want us to feel sorry for her. So Ashley says that Vanessa abandoned them. Which is it? Did she abandon you, or was she telling you things that you were doing that you didn't like? Because I don't see how she could do both, especially if she's texting you and calling you and you're not answering. That means you're abandoning her. Vanessa's like, what are you talking about? Losing you all hurt my soul. And she's loud and dramatic with it. She leans in, and Ashley's like, she makes a face like she's disgusted by the whole thing. And that's when I said, Ashley, I don't like you either. I really don't like her. I don't. And I'm going to be honest. Normally, I try to, find a little bit of good in everybody. And last season, there were some things about her. She was making certain excuses that were getting on my nerves. But so far this season, it's a big no for me. Like, Ashley, you the worst of the worst because you're an enabler. You're enabling Megan. You don't think that it's odd that Megan had the surgery 3 years ago and she plateaued over a year and a half ago? She's talking about how she plateaued like it just happened. She plateaued at the beginning of last season. This is a year later. What's the deal? Megan says, now that she lost the weight, we don't hear from her unless she needs something. What exactly does she need from them? Vanessa's like, Megan's not being honest. It's not about me being loud. It's about you being jealous. Ashley said, we're all in the same boat. No, you are not. You're not in the same boat. Vanessa weighs less than all of you all. And here's the thing. She has extra skin. That's when Megan says, at the end of the day, you're only 30 pounds lighter than me. It's not that big of a difference. Vanessa shut her down real quick, and she says, yeah, it's more like 70. And I said, yes, Vanessa, let her know, because that right there shows jealousy. Let's be clear. Vanessa is tall, number one. Number two, if you look at Vanessa, looking at Vanessa's body, seeing her arms when she stretches out her arms and seeing her stomach and how it's all that skin and all that other stuff, Vanessa may be 220 pounds, but probably 40 of those pounds is extra skin that's going to get removed on her body when she gets approval. So you sound like a hater, because we can see that Megan is clearly larger, or at least she looks larger to me, than 289 pounds. And that's not me fat shaming. That's me calling a spade a spade. You got to be real about this situation, Megan. And it's that you're a hater. You've been hating on her. You're jealous of her. You do not like that Vanessa has become the favorite. You do not like that Vanessa did what you were supposed to do. This show was supposed to be based off of you. And yet here we are, and we're rooting more for her than you. Megan's like, if it hadn't been for me, you wouldn't be here. This has went to your head. Megan, it went to your head too. And you thought that you were going to be more successful than her. And it was okay as long as you were more successful than her. But the moment she started to surpass you, that's when things became a problem. She says, you're full of it. Vanessa gets up and she's like, I can't do this. I can't do this if they're lying. I can't do this. We see some of production and other people as she's walking away, and she's fussing and she's crying. And Megan starts to mock her crying, talk about some, take ownership, take ownership. You cry baby. What? Aren't you the same person who was crying just because you heard her voice? Aren't you the same person who was crying because you didn't make your goal? Who was crying because Dr. Proctor called you out on your weight? Who was crying because you couldn't do this exercise or you couldn't do that? And now you're sitting here and you're criticizing her? Y'all, this one is going to be interesting, because I'm telling you now, they're making me mad. But you all let me know what you think of this episode. I think that Vanessa needs to not worry about her so-called best friends. A lot of times we tend to hold on to years and think just because we've known somebody for X amount of years that means that that's a friendship that is always going to be. Sometimes that's not the case. I have a best friend that we've been friends since we were in the 11th grade. And there was a time period for a couple of years when we got into it and we didn't talk to each other. And when we reconnected, it was like nothing ever happened. I have another best friend that I've known her for a couple of years, and that's my ace boon coon. And she knows more about me than people who've known me for 40 years of my life. With that being said, the years don't matter. But you all, let me know what you thought of this. I think this is going to be a decent season. Until next time.